find your identity. Who am I? Where am I from? Where am I going? All these things like that. It is amazing when we are still struggling with our identity as to who we are. It is amazing. Go to, I'll say the book of Genesis, 26 verse. It's amazing how God does things. Genesis 26. Genesis 1 and 26, I meant. Chapter 1 and 26. I did say 1, right? Chapter 1? What did I say? Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Very familiar scripture. All right? Very familiar. All right?
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, the New International Version. Then God said, let us make man in our image.
Stop. Let us make man in our image. And God said, let us make a man. Let us make. Let us manufacture a man. The thing about this right here is you were made before you were made. Most of us are trying to find out who we are, but we don't understand that we were made before we were made. And we spend so much time trying to identify with someone, not knowing that you were made before you were made. I don't understand. And I'm going to jump down, come back. In the book of Jeremiah, first chapter, verse number 5, what it say? When you get there, please. The book of Jeremiah, right there, Sister Sean.
Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee.
Now, before I formed you in the belly, I had already made you. So I made you before you were made. So that proves it. I made you before. Listen, your mom and daddy hadn't been made yet, but I had already made you. Before you entered your mom's belly, I had already formed you. I had already made you. Amen. It is amazing when you think about Genesis chapter 1, 26. God said, let us make man in our image. 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 Every major manufacturer has an image. You might call it a logo. It's an image. If you stop and think about it, it's an image. He said, let us make man in our image. Let me stamp my image on it. But before I could stamp my image on man, I must first test him. If I don't test the product, what good is the product being here if the product hadn't been proven? Every product must be tested. Okay? You don't buy a product that hadn't been tested unless you're buying something somebody just put together on the street and sell it to you. And there's no image to it. There's no, I mean, there's some, you know, it looked like something, but there's no logo on it. The person just tell you, I made it. And that's it. It hadn't been tested. It hadn't been proven to know whether it will do this, it will whatever. Every major manufacturer tests their product. I thought about with the outer box, the cell phone cover, the thing that you put your cell phone, what it's called? Outer box, yeah. You put your phone in that thing, and they've tested it. You can take the phone and throw it on the floor, whatever, and it's not supposed to break the phone. It's supposed to protect the phone. That's what they say. They test it, and they sell it in a way to prove they test it. Because it's not cheap. Not the one I bought. Well, I ain't bought this. This is not out of box. This is life proof. Yeah. It is not out of box. You drop this, it'll crack the phone. This one has been tested to say if you put it in water, the phone won't get wet. That what it says, certain amount of seconds? Well, hey, listen, water is water. I don't care how deep you put it in, it's still water. Listen, you tell me, if I put my toe in water, I'm in water. It doesn't matter how deep I go, I'm still in water. Supposed to be able to. That's what they say. And that's how they sell it. And that's why people buy it. Because they say it'll protect your phone. Okay? And what they do is they put their image on that product, stating, we have tested this, we like the product, it represents us, and it will do what we said it will do. You still ain't getting it. Till next week y'all get it. You still ain't getting it. The product will withstand what we say. I'll do a little better than that. Let me take a little further than that. Let me take a little further than that. With whatever let's say you buy something, and where there's a microphone. It comes in a box, okay? And it tells you what this mic is capable of. There's a booklet in there that comes along with that product. And if you read the booklet, it'll tell you what this product is capable of doing. It will tell you how to protect the product. That true? Now, it didn't say you drop the product, we're going to replace it. And they sell it in such a way, I'm going to get to that part, the warranty part. They sell it in such a way that they say this is one of the best mics that you can buy at a low cost. Because there are mics now that's more expensive than this. Sennheiser is an expensive mic. And they say it's supposed to be better. Shure is a good mic. But they say there are mics that's better than Shure. I don't know. Hadn't tested it. They have. And then when you talk with different people who have bought mics, they'll tell you, man, listen, you might as well go get this mic. Because if you get that right there, that or what is auto or whatever, you're going to be coming back because it's not going to last you. Okay? They'll tell you that. We're sure you get a good deal. Sometimes you can get 2 mics for 5 something. Cordless. 1 mic, sometimes it costs you 4 something. 1 mic in the little box, transmitter. But they test it. They prove it. Comes with a warranty. Comes with a guarantee. You'll get it sooner or later next month. In the back of the book, sometime there is a warranty. And there is a guarantee. We guarantee this product. If you treat this product the way we have designed it, if something happened to the product, we'll pay for you to ship it to us. Because we want to check the product. And if we find a default that you're talking about with the product, we'll either fix it or replace it at our cost. Because our name now, here's what I want you to understand. Here's what I want you to understand. When they say this, they don't have you in mind. They have their image in mind. You'll get it in a little bit. When they say something like that, they have their image in mind. I can't allow my image to be distorted. And that's something. I knew you, son, before you were in your mother's womb. And I made you a prophet. And before you entered your mother's womb, I tested you. I approved you. And then I place you in a body. And so I know what you are capable of doing because I made you. You were made before you were made. Let me tell you something. Let me help you out. See, your body has a way of telling you that's not true. The Bible said those that are led by the Spirit. What God was saying was, I made you a spirit before I made you a body. And all I did was, when I brought you forth, I placed you in a body so that man could see you. But before you entered that body, before you got a birth date, you already had a date. And you were tested and proven you're a prophet. You're a prophetess. I don't care what they say. You are a prophet. You are a prophetess, and I don't care what nobody else say. I place you in that body so that the world could see what I made. But for some reason, we are searching for our identity. We ignore, Sister Sean, the manual. And we let man tell us who we are. Ain't that something? Let me help you out as to who you are. Trying to find your identity. help you out. It's amazing. I heard some of this, and then the rest of God just give me. Oh, my goodness. Just hear certain things, and God just give you more. Listen to this. Anybody, you know, and I'm just asking a question. Growing up as a child, were you called something that you didn't like? Were you labeled? When you were in a marriage, a relationship, were you labeled as something that you didn't like? Well, most people, when they are labeled as something that isn't true about them, because they hear it so much, you begin to live up to it. But that ain't who God tested you to be. That's not who he made you to be. But listen, Sean, that's who you chose to be. God said this, I place before you, Sister Chantel, life and death. You choose. I would rather that you choose life, but the choice is up to you. You know something? Listen to this, Sister Jamaica, you know something? Your success, when you are successful, it makes God look good. When you fail, the image of God, that's why Satan speaks up then. When you fail, I knew you were going to fail. I knew you weren't nothing. I knew you weren't no good. Because he knows it doesn't look good to God. He knows this. That's why he wants you to fail. That's why he put all these things before you so you can fail. That's why he placed all these people in your life to tell you all these negative things so that you could believe it. Listen to this. Listen to this. It's amazing how people will wear clothes with someone else's name on it and think that's them. Now listen, it's somebody else's logo, it's somebody else's image, but you trying to be. You know how many people have died for name brand clothing? You know how the fashion industry is so successful? It is successful on people who have low self-esteem, who don't know who they are. Your child name, he wears a Jordan outfit, but he's not that person. You trying to change his identity to someone he will never be. He hadn't even tapped into who he really is, and you already forming him to be something God didn't make him. Because you have an identity problem. When you have an identity problem, anything people say to you and about you bothers you. I can say something out of the way right now and you get offended. And that's not even you. So why are you upset? That's not you. You're not that person. It's amazing when people, your whole life you lived and you never discovered who you really are, or where you're going, or what you are supposed to be doing. And when these things are never discovered, the enemy said, I won. I won. Because God formed you to put me in my place. But I told you I had more power than you. And you believed the lie based on the people I placed around you. Your children can go to school. And because your child didn't do what they were supposed to do in school or whatever, they are now labeled. And the child go through life failing, doing everything else because the child was lied to in grade school. I don't know what that static is. Okay? Because the child was lied to in grade school. Because the child was lied to at home. God said, I tested you. I proved you. They say, I remember a young lady right here. I ain't gonna call her name. She said, they say I'm a pastor's wife. Bless you. Thank God for you, YouTube viewers. Searching for an identity. Not wanting to identify with who God really made you. Because to be that means I'm held to a higher standard. Where God created you, God, listen, he created you to be that, and now you telling God, I have a better plan. But here is how it works. When your plan doesn't work, you come to God. Why are you asking God to help you with your plan? Listen to me. Listen to me. A car can only do what a car is made to do. A car can take you to your house, but it can't pick you up and take you to the bathroom. It was not designed for that. It was designed to get you there. Can't take you to your house. Listen, it can't take you in the house. It can drive you in the garage. But it cannot just take you in the house. I don't care what they're showing you on TV, it cannot take you in the house. Because it was not manufactured for that. Listen to me. People are always trying to change their identity. This is why you have so much hairstyles today. Because they're trying to discover. I don't care if you were in Africa. If you know who you are, I don't care what you look like, you know who you are. When you learn this, no one could discourage you. It will give you a confidence about yourself that no one could deceive you. Well, God, he spoke a word into my life and he told me I call you to be an evangelist. All right. So why are you trying to teach? He didn't call you that. See, I'm trying to be somebody that he didn't make me to be. Because I'm struggling with my identity. Why are you trying to do like some other pastor do when God didn't call you to that. You notice this? You notice this? Wait a minute. Go to Genesis. I mean, not Genesis. Luke 4. Every product must be tested and proven before God stamps his approval on it. Let me tell you something. If you go to a car manufacturer, the last thing they put on that car, what? What's the last thing they put on that car? That's it again? He said the tires. Their emblem. Their name. That's Chevrolet. You listen, you can have the car there with no emblem on it. You can look at the car like, wonder what that is. What kind of car is that? If it doesn't have anything on it, no type of emblem, no type of whatever, it just looks like, because there are a lot of cars that look alike. And by just looking at that car with nothing on it, you're trying to figure out what kind of car it is. What type of car is that? Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. What type of person is that? It's a man, but created by God. I ain't gonna go into that. I'm not gonna even go into that. It's a man, but created by God. He didn't create all these other things that man is trying to become. According to God, there ain't even a image to put on it. So man come up with their own title, their own image. To say that's what I am. God said that ain't who you were created to be. That's not who you were created to be. You were created to be an apostle. You were created to be a pastor. David was created before he was made to be a king, before he got here. That's why, listen, that's why it wasn't a problem when, listen, it wasn't like God, I had to look for somebody. No, he didn't. Because let me share something with you. Let me share something with you. God has a plan that is already in process. It's already in progress. It's already moving. God ain't trying to figure out whether you are going to get it right, whether you're going to know. Listen to me. Every product, everything that God makes has an expiration date. Listen, Saul, if you cross this line, you will expire. Now listen, Saul, and it wasn't long after Saul, here you got this young boy that's born to a man by the name of Jesse. When Saul was growing up, David was not there. But here's what God was doing. I had already made a king for Israel. Now let me share something with you. Saul was not the original. He was what the people wanted. In other words, he was not made to be a king, but because the people wanted him. That's what they wanted. And so God gave them what they wanted. But the king that would be was born to Jesse. He was the one that God said, I made him to be a king. And I proved him, I tested him before he got in his mother's womb. So Saul couldn't understand, my replacement is here. Your replacement, he is the original. He's not your replacement. He is the original. He's the one God placed there from the very beginning. God created him to be that. In your family, they were waiting for the time would come when they would cry out in their spirit for a prophet or a prophetess to lead. And God made you, proved you before he put you in this mother. Well, Pastor, because I know what people say. Well, Pastor, listen, God isn't, it's not about sin. Listen, I don't care how you got here. God had to put you there. Well, Pastor, I don't think God recognized people who were born out of wedlock. The devil is a liar. The devil is a liar. Because if that's the case, you can throw out a whole generation of people. The devil is a liar. No, that's a lie. He knew how I would get here. Listen, he knew it took a man and a woman to come together. Married or unmarried. It never said that you had to be married to make a child. That woman has the ability to be impregnated whether you are married or not. God placed that in there. And before he put you in your mother's womb, he tested and proved it.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.
I promise you that. He tested and proved it. He put in her before she got into her mother's womb, you didn't know who the child was going to be. You didn't have a name for the child. You didn't even know you were going to have a child. But God had already placed in that child the ability to be a mother. What scripture I told you to go to? Luke 4. Luke 4, I think verse 12. I'm not sure. Read since you're on, I think 12. Was led into the wilderness. 12, yeah? Is it 12? I want it. Go ahead.
Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, returned. That's verse 1, excuse me. Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, returned from the Jordan and was led by the Spirit in the desert.
Go ahead.
Where for 40 days he was tempted by the devil.
Listen, for 40 days he was tempted. He had to be proven. He had to be proven. You want to be the Savior? You got to be proven. Listen, I already put in you the ability to pass the test. If you don't lean to your flesh. If you don't lean to your understanding. Because when I tested you, when I made you, before you were made, I tested you, but you didn't have a body. Oh, Lord have mercy. Y'all still ain't catching the thing. Still ain't catching the thing. You were a spirit. You didn't have a physical body. So when I tested you, I proved you because you were a spirit. And I knew as you being a spirit, You could pass this. You could do this. You could do that. Greater, greater, greater. Now, Jesus had to prove when listen, here, God in the flesh. He's in a body. But he had to prove that the body doesn't have any control over the spirit.
That's right.
Listen, the Bible said those that are led by the Spirit. We're pastor. Why God didn't give me a wife or a husband yet? Oh my God. Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? Why God didn't give you a husband or a wife? Are you serious? Let me share something with you that you don't know. If you no. Did you ain't happy today? You having a bad day? Your hair ain't good? Or you waiting on that? Sister Chantel, pull up in front of you and redo it. Listen, go back to Genesis. And God made, but go up a little bit. Where we at?
26.
And then God, no, go up. Go up to the vegetation. Everything had a seed in it.
Yeah.
And it produced after its own kind. 11? Go ahead, tell me what it's. Listen to that, brother.
Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds."
Listen, according to their various kinds. So you asking God for something he already placed in you. The problem is you trying to get it based on this. Yeah. Talk to me, Sister Lynn. That woman, they was created in God, made before she was made. Go ahead.
He was dealing with me on that. He said the flesh doesn't know what I'm doing in the spirit. Spirit knows spirit, face to face.
Wow.
I know I'm the one who created my spirit.
Wow. Come. Say that again. Say it again. Listen to this. Listen to what she just said. Come up here. Keep the camera on me. Don't put the camera. I don't think she want to be on. You better stop right there.
God's been dealing with me as far as his will and my will, as far as flesh dying. He said, I always say, let your will be done. He's like, I haven't seen my will.
Yeah. Say it again.
That's what he told me. He said, I always say, Lord, let your will be done, not my will.
Yeah.
And he said he hasn't seen his will.
Being done.
Flesh. On the seeds of flesh.
You cannot do his will.
So then he told me the flesh doesn't know what I'm doing in the spirit. Spirit knows spirit. Face to face. I know I'm the one who created my spirit.
My spirit. Thank you. Y'all get that?
Yes.
Y'all get that? See, you trying to see what God's doing and trying to satisfy God in the temple, in this temporary mortal body. You can't do it. This is why the struggle is, I don't know what God is doing. I don't know what he wants from me. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Because you won't stay in the spirit long enough to identify. The spirit, listen, the flesh will always tell you you don't have enough. The spirit will tell you there is more than enough. Sister Shawn, listen, you asking God for something he already placed in. Okay, here's what God said. Let me show how God do this thing. Okay, listen. Here's what God said. When I put you in this body, I've done this in such a way that I've done it in such a unique way. Listen, you want a family? You can't get it without a man. I ain't talking about no artificial insemination. I'm talking about without a man. That's why I put them together, male and female, to produce after their own kind. You asking God to give you something because you are lonely in your flesh. When the feeling of loneliness is gone, you don't really need the person no more.
Facts.
Because it's flesh. God didn't make you like that. He put you in a body that is of flesh. The only reason this exists is because Adam failed the test.
Right.
You don't have a high priest. We have a high priest that is able to identify with all of our. He understands your weakness. And so he understands that if you want my will be done, this is how it is to be. You have to be led by my spirit. Your flesh cannot follow God's spirit. It has no desire to. You was not, listen, you was not made a body first. You were made a spirit being first. You were placed in a body. Revelation, the New Testament, and the book of Revelation is your warranty and your guarantee. Prove to you, people have lost their identity. They're trying to find their identity. Your child growing up, you're around all the different people, stuff like that, and the child comes on one day and says, Mama, and he's a boy, Mama, I like men. Son, you're confused. You're trying to find out who you are. You're testing the waters. You're trying to find you. You're searching for you. Little girl come home, Mom, I like girls. You're trying to find you. You weren't created like that. All of this is the result of the fall. Let me share something with you. You cannot smoke your identity away. You cannot drink your identity away. You cannot crack your identity away. one of the things that the enemy does not want is for you to find out who God really made you to be.
Amen.
And most of the church never tap into who they were made to be. That's why they're not successful. You want to identify with somebody else because you want somebody else to identify you. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. Hello, thank you, Jesus. Boy, you helping us. You fight. You get upset. You're mad. All this stuff, you're disappointed with God because you're trying to make God conform to your flesh. What we call success, God called disappointment. Sister Shaw, here's what God said. I'm disappointed in you when you got that person. Because that's not the person I designed for you. But Lord, you love me. He loved you. You know what he said? Let me tell you what God said. Even when a person go out of wedlock and they end up getting pregnant or whatever and stuff, or they mess up in marriages, you know what God said? Okay, come to me anyway. I still love you. Come to me. Here's what I'm going to do. Bring that. Bring that. Bring this. I know you were a drug addict. I know you were drunk because you went up there trying to find you. Because when you read the manual, you didn't understand. So you went looking for you. And the enemy will identify you immediately. He will give you an identity immediately. And so when he did that, you took that, thinking that was you. So now you got some children. Now you got a husband. You got all this stuff. You got a disease, whatever. Bring that with you. I still love you. Because I still want to show you who you really are. I'm going to save the children. I'm going to save the husband. I'm going to use that as a testimony, and I'm going to use that as a testimony. So bring it on. You just got out of my will temporarily.
Amen. Go ahead.
Help me, Jesus. Help me, Jesus. See, all of that in you trying to find your identity. You hadn't even tapped into who you are. Have you ever noticed this? When you start going forth in God, when you get focused and start going forth in God, the person that you close to begin to try to pull you back. The very thing that you think is not supposed to be is the very thing that tried to tell you it don't take all of that. Trying to give you the same false identity that you have just left. I told you, if you succeed, you have a choice. Well, God, I don't want to be a preacher. That's your choice. I don't want to be a pastor. That's your choice. But I'm telling you, that's where your benefit's at. Because that's who I made you to be. But you telling me you know better. And I'm the one that has a plan.
That's it. Exactly right.
I know the plan. Hey, Lord, let me tell you something. I know the plan. I know the thoughts. That's it. I know what I'm doing. If you trust the plan, you will be successful it's a choice. 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 I'm telling you, it's a choice. I promise you, it's a choice. I promise you, it's a choice. We did not see Jesus beginning to do many miracles until he came out of that wilderness. And he made a choice before he went into the wilderness. I'm God. I'm God. That's what he said. The Bible said he did not count it robbery to equal himself with God. I'm God.
That's it.
And if I'm God, there ain't no failing in God. That's what Jesus said. Now, that ain't what I'm saying, but that's what Jesus said. If I'm God, there ain't no failing in God. You can't tempt him.
All right.
I'm going to help you out now. The reason why you are so easily tempted to do certain crazy things because of your flesh. No one can tempt you when you're walking in the Spirit. The Bible tells you that when a person is tempted or is drawn away, that's in the flesh. That ain't in the Spirit. That's in the flesh. See, Jesus was tempted to see what type of lust was in it. What type of desire was in it. I told you it's a choice. What type of desire is in you? Is the desire in you to be wealthy? Because if it is, the enemy going to come to you.
So if you're thinking in the carnal way and not in the spirit, then you twist it. And why I say that is because your gift will bring before great men, yeah, but not your physical gift, your spiritual gift.
Your spiritual gift.
So everything else you're going to get is going to get in the spirit. If you ain't getting it in the spirit, then really you in a false identity. Everything else is false and it's illegal. Because you thinking flesh when you should be thinking spirit. And everything is done in the spirit. So if everything is done in the spirit, oh my God.
Let me share something with you. Do you know how many saints today who are in the flesh and are hearing flesh message that has no ability to transform them into the spirit that they really are? And because you don't want no change, you would rather stay in it because it is catering to your flesh. And the only thing grows is your flesh. You become even more wickeder. You become even more harder. But when a word comes that begins to transition you from the physical to the spiritual, there is a problem. Listen, resistance comes. Your flesh begin to challenge you. Some people say, I understand what he said. I understand that message. I just don't think that's God. Because it's a challenge. It's a challenge because it is challenging your flesh. It is challenging you to step out of the known into the unknown. And so you live under a false identity thinking that God is pleased. Listen, and here is something different. People tell you, all this stuff right here, and they say, this person here is smart, this person is smart, and stuff like that. Wait a minute. Nobody has in them the ability to be dumb. If you are labeled as a person who is dumb, I know what a dummy is. If you're labeled as a person who is dumb or illiterate, whatever you want to call it, if you are labeled as a person who's slow, whatever you want to call it, listen, you made the choice to be it. Because if God has placed in you to be greater than you, listen, I don't care how the cut goes. God is not dumb. He knows all things. And if he knows all things, and I tap into who he created me to be, all I need to know is a tenth of what he knows. And that will prove that I be smarter than you. What's the percentage of the brains that man uses? 10%? Well, let's say you use 11%. You know, if you use 11% of your brain, you're a genius. According to man's standard. 11% of your brain, you're a genius. Now, here's what happens, Sister Pam. Here's what happens. Most of us have automobiles today. And that automobile is designed to do certain things. Listen, Sister Sean. The only thing I know about that car is how to get in, start the engine, put it in drive, or put it in reverse, and go. But the car is designed, Sister Chantel, to do more than that. But I never pick up the manual to find out what the thing is capable of. That's just like my computer. Your phone is a computer. I know how to make calls. I know how to accept calls. I know how to text. I know how to do emails. But there's more to the phone than just that. If that's true about the phone, what about you and I? There's more to you and I than just getting up in the morning. Listen, y'all. Going to work, coming home, eating, going to bed, getting up the next morning. There's more to you than just. You formed a routine. And the enemy knows if I can keep you in this routine, if I can keep you in this mode, you will waste your life. You will never discover who you are. And before you can become a threat to me, your time will have expired. You sit right here, you hear me talk, and I promise you, you'll walk out of here. I don't want to be there. I'm just sick of these bills. Well, let me share something with you. When you were created in heaven, you didn't have no bills. Well, we can do a little better than that. When Adam was in the garden, he had no bills. I know you're getting ready to say. I know what you're getting ready to say. Well, if that the case, Pastor, if that the case, he ain't had no electricity back then. That's why he ain't had no bills. Wait a minute. Peter had problem with taxes. Peter didn't tell Jesus, go to the brook and catch the fish, and the first fish you catch, reach into his mouth and pull out the money and go pay our taxes. No, the Spirit told Peter. The Spirit told Peter. No, here's what you say. Jesus told Peter, but the Spirit told Peter. God tells you to do this, but he speaks to you because he's spirit. You start doing the thing God tells you to do based on your flesh and your capability. Why would God tell you to do something you don't have? Please help me. Please help me. Why would God tell you to do something you don't have? He tell you to do something because you have what he's telling you to do. If you don't believe you have it, it's in you. You have the ability to acquire it.
Right.
Yeah, that's shaking right there, Trevor. What? I ain't got no. You work the word, and the word has to work for you.
That God gave you came up. We were talking about being a created being this morning, and the very word that God gave you, I got it somewhere. Read it out. Yeah, that one right there, because that's exactly what you're saying. What God had gave her those months ago.
Oh, this young lady, right?
Gave it to Lena, but she got it on paper.
She got it on paper. God has given me permission to form something that was formless, to create something out of something that wasn't. Whatever I call it, that's what it shall be. Whatever God said, it happened. God created something that was incomplete, complete. Now here's what you think. Your completion is when you're in this body. No, your completion was when God said it's finished.
Go ahead, pick it down.
Catch this, catch this. Catch this, Sister Shanty, catch this. Here's what the manufacturer said about the automobile. When they put the logo or the image on the car, you know what they say? It is finished.
It is finished.
Now, guess what? Guess what? Guess what? You think the car is new. The car was tested. So it can't be new. You buy the car and you pay new price.
Yes.
When the car was tested, so it can't be new. Listen, God is the only person that creates. That's what the Bible said. I am the beginning and the end. I am the Alpha and the Omega. That's why God say that. Listen, when I begin a thing, know that the thing I'm beginning is already complete. He don't begin a thing. If God begins something new in your life, that's something that he knew is already complete. Okay, you're going to be an apostle. Okay, well, these signs shall follow them that believe. Okay, you struggling with the sign following you, and you saying it's but because you trying to believe God in your flesh. But if you tell God, listen, you created me before I was manifested. So if you created me, then I was doing those things that you say I could do before I entered this body. Before I entered this body. See, my job and your job is to correct what Satan has messed up. Other than that, there wouldn't be no need for us to come. What's the need for us to come? It's amazing. Let me tell you what a demon. And some of you probably heard this thing, but I listened to it again yesterday, I think, one of them days. But I listened to it, and the demon said that I was telling Sister Pam, but so it had been one. The demon said, "My name." The demon. When the demon was an angel, the demon said, "My name is Anana." That's who I was made to be in heaven. A Nanum. I didn't say a Lanum, a Nanum. That's who I was made to be. The demon said, I didn't know pain exists. I didn't know torment exists. Because I was not made for that. So if pain and torment and failure exists, it only exists in the physical. It doesn't exist in the spiritual. It exists because of the fall. But if I get in my position as to who God created me to be, though it attacks this body, I can speak a word. And the word that I speak cancels the situation that's going on in this body. Because I'm a spirit. Father, I believe that you have already given me all things. Everything that I'll ever need, you have already given me. I believe that. I accept that. That's settled. Who you've called me to be, I made a decision to be that. I don't argue with it. I don't differ from it. I don't try to argue with somebody who say I'm not. I'm settled with who he said I am. Listen, what you said I could do, I believe that what you said I could do has already been done. So all I'm doing is tapping into. Listen, all I'm doing is tapping into what's already complete. So, if that is true, then whatever I need financially, when he made me, he gave that to, listen, my life was already played out before I got here. All he did was, he gave me a beginner's date. You ain't catching it. One day you'll get it. He had to give you a beginner's date. Yes. But before you got here, you had already walked from the beginning to the end. Mm-hmm. That was it. Mm-hmm. Finish. Now, let me give you a body, Jeremiah. Let me put you in a body, Jeremiah. And the very thing that I placed in you, you live it out. Because I don't care if you are 10. I don't care if you are 2. You are still called to be a prophet. I don't care if you are 22. You are still called to be a prophet. I did not change that because that is who I made you to be from the very beginning. Amen. Thank you. And then he sent somebody with a word because you lost your identity outside of the garden. And someone who knows what the garden is like comes to you and gives you the identity you lost. So all I'm doing is giving you a word to give you your identity. When you find out your identity, you need to go to the book and find out what is the plan for this identity he's given me. Because I'm more than just a husband. Listen, the Bible tells you this. In heaven, there'll be no marriage. Not given in marriage. So if I think that that's all I am, then I'm sad and mistaken. I'm selling myself short. I'm more than just that. Hello. I'm not telling you I'm against marriage. No, I'm for marriage. But I'm telling you I'm more. Jesus told his mother, here's what he said. Paraphrase. Here's what he said. I'm more than just your son. Listen, here's what he tells him. Daddy, I'm more than just your son.
Yes, Lord.
I have a creator. And he had worked for me.
Yes.
But because I am in this body, I'm subject to obey you.
Amen. That's right. That's it.
Because God placed it in the word. And I, better than anybody, know the word. So I must obey.
What the Lord had shared with me was when Adam and Eve, when he pulled Eve out of Adam,
Okay.
the two became one flesh.
Yeah.
Flesh of my bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh.
Yes.
And so when you was talking about who we are, and we were created before we were put in our mother's womb,
Yeah.
if Jesus says our life is hid in him, what he's saying is the reason she fell was because she strayed away from her head.
Yeah.
But Jesus says, now you're in me.
Yeah.
So you come out of me.
Exactly.
You are now in my image. Bone, spirit of my spirit. So now we are in him.
Exactly.
And he's the head of the church.
Exactly.
And if we obey him, we won't get out of line like she did with Adam. So that was flesh, and now Jesus is spirit. And we're his bride.
The only way I can be what he called me to be, I have to make an intelligent decision to be that. Because he placed in me the ability to make a choice. I have a will. And until my will becomes his will, I'm going through a cycle. And the cycle is a roller coaster ride. Because listen, in the physical, I'll never find my identity. Because Jesus didn't set it up after the fall, he didn't set it up like that anymore. You in him. He's a spirit. God is a spirit. I'm in Christ. He's in me. Abide in me. And my word abide in you. You can do something. You can ask what you will. Listen now. Listen. You can ask what you will. You can ask what, listen, because everything I'm going to ask is according to his will. Yeah.
He also revealed in Acts, he said that Acts, I want to read the scripture, I want to say the right thing. He said Acts 13 and 22.
Okay.
And what he said is, David was a man after my own heart because he did all I did.
Now, the only time David stepped out of his will. The will of the Father is to forgive those who have trespassed against you. I only hold on to anger and hatred is when I'm in this. Oh, yeah. It's right in here. It's right in here. You got delivered. And you allow the devil to take you back into your flesh. But I promise you, it's going to cost you more than what's worth. You're going to find out what it's like to walk in the flesh Listen. You begun a good work, and you strayed away. The very thing that God gave you, you allow it to control you. And God never gave it to you for that reason. So most people, when you're talking about things like this, they want to be successful, but you can't stand the blessing. Because the blessing then controls you. Listen, the blessings never controlled Jesus. He fed the people. He could have had his own livestock, but he didn't, because it was already prophesied in Scripture concerning him. And he told him, there's a man down there in that town. He has a coat tied up. Go and untie him and bring him to me. And if anybody asks you, what are you doing? You tell him the master have need of this. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do when that jet. I'm going to tell him, lift me up there to the nose of the jet. Lay hands on it, tell him the master have need of you. You will not crash. I ain't never tell you I'm flying. Lay hands on the pilot and tell him the master have need of you.
That's right.
And if anybody asks you, you tell them that. I say that because some people in the flesh. That stuff don't faze me. It shouldn't faze you. It shouldn't faze you. Some people can't deal with stuff like that. They hover over it. They become so protective. You ain't going to get that. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. You no. They become so protective. And they lose their joy. And they lose their peace. Then you hear the word. God give us. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Because he kept telling us about certain things. You distant. You distant. In the spirit, you are distant. And you are putting your mouth on things, your flesh trying to understand. And the devil is speaking to you and telling you to do this, to do that, and you are allowing hatred to grow in your heart. If you don't get right, if you don't repent, if you don't apologize, it's going to cost you more than you're willing to pay. That is heavy, but you won't be crushed because you're spiritual. Let me tell you something. Spiritual people don't have a problem with giving because they know that the more I give, the more he gives. can't see it.
Yeah, you don't see that there's bitterness. You don't see that there's jealousy. You don't see
Oh, I
that
see
there's
it.
unforgiveness.
I see some
You
of it.
see it in spirit.
Yeah.
But just looking,
No, you don't see it.
You don't see it. He said that's the stuff that he's going after. That's the stuff that he has to purge out in us. And I say me first because I'm the first person.
Yeah,
But he said that's the stuff he has to purge out in us before he can bless us. He said there's a whole lot of blessings that's waiting. And today, as I was coming home from work, it looked like you know how you have a ceiling tile.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
water that's building up under it,
Yeah.
and it bulges.
Yeah.
He said that's how it looks in the spirit. It's bulging, it's showing, it's ready to just be released, but I can't release it until I break and purge out some of this stuff.
Then you mad because God ain't doing it. Well, he said he gonna do it, and he never said I had to change. He did say you had to obey. See, people think obedience only goes with dogs. You teach your dog, you send them to obedience school. No. No. Sinners, they're like animals. Listen. Let me tell you something. The Bible said, trust no man. Let God be, and every man be a. Now notice what I said, man. I never said spirit. I said man. Isn't the ways of your forefathers is in you and it's manifested. And it don't look good. Because I see the distance. It is better to receive it from me than to allow something to happen. But you thinking in your mind, ain't nothing happening to me. Ain't nothing happening to me. Ain't nothing happening to me. Oh, baby, you just don't understand. You don't understand. You think you understand. You do not understand.
Sunday, you asked me to get up there and pray. And when I got up there, it was short and sweet, but what the Lord revealed to me was, he said, you know, it's in my people's thoughts. How we gonna ever become one when you got up there, people was like, what's she gonna say? Like, why she called her? Like, I heard those thoughts. So I hurried up and prayed and I sat down, but he said, how y'all gonna be one, and how I'm gonna pour my spirit more if y'all looking at what the best was on the outside, but not realizing that I'm on the inside.
See, here's what they'll do. That's why a lot of people can't get husband and wife. Because they want what they see on TV. Shuck, I ain't trying to be the people. It's proof they don't like themselves. That's why, listen, I'm not falling out to Hollywood. They trying to change everything. Boy, I saw a man 90 years old. That man looked like he was 60. He'd already had so much plastic surgery. 50, I mean, his face looked like plastic. It looked good. But you could have tell he was his age. You could have tell he was age. But it's the identity. I don't know who I am. And this is the image that I'm. So every American need to follow after this image. I was not created like that. When Paul got the understanding, when the disciples got the understanding, when the apostles got the understanding, I have another house. So you can destroy this one. But that house you can't touch. Baby, you ain't never seen nothing good looking until you get there. See, the enemy trying to get these people to be made up because he used to be. And the only way he knows he can get us, because we visual, to be joined to him, a lot of us, is to, oh my God, I gotta have that. You see how that woman look? He knows this. Because he knows we visual. I've seen people, pastors, great pastors, men and women of God. You look at their wife, you, boy, this is all God. But they don't see it. They see it spiritually. And the wife never said, or the husband never said, I'm out of my league with this. And she's going to leave me for somebody else. Because I know I'm not up to par. There's a lot of things I don't have. But one thing I do have is a word in the inside of him. There's a lot, listen, there's a lot of things I'm not trying to be. Amen. All I want to be is what he placed in me. If I become that, listen, everything else that I think, listen, everything that I need for ministry has already been provided. There's no way God going to, listen, create you to be that and not give you anything to go along with it. All the help I need to get the way I need to be, he's already given. It's sad when people think in their mind, if I leave, they ain't gonna know what to do. No. If his spirit leaves, I won't know what to do.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right. The spirit.
If he leaves, I won't know what to do. But as long as he stays, man, the Bible, listen, Jesus started out with just him. That's it. With just him. He went to John to be baptized by John. Boy, when he came out of that, listen, when he got up out of that water, and listen, the Spirit began to identify him through John. The Bible said he was led into the wilderness to be tempted. But when he came out of the wilderness, he walked into ministry. Man, people began to flock to him. Everywhere he went, people behind. Popular. I mean, listen, popular. And you talking about one little person leave you? The devil is a liar. The devil is a liar. What I say, you left because you didn't know your identity. Thank God for you guys on YouTube. We bless the Lord for you guys, man. We pray that this word has been a blessing to you. And I pray that God do whatever he says he's going to do in your life. And I'm believing with you that God is going to do it. Amen.